Hello YouTube. I have not done a video in quite some time, but I thought it was time to do one again. And today I briefly want to speak about how important diet is in the prevention of um, mood and emotional difficulty, and also how it is possible that you might alleviate or resolve some of your emotional or anxiety related kind of issues. So I'm not going to do a comprehensive discussion of this. This is more to sort of point you in the direction of thinking about this, learning about this. I am not a dietitian. I am also not a nutritional scientist or expert. But there are certain things that the people who are nutritional experts seem to agree on. And I'm just going to point to one or two of these elements. I think the first thing that one has to say is that in the media you often find articles espousing the value of a certain supplement or certain foods or the dangers they offer. Sometimes there's some truth to this, but the one thing that has become, or that should be quite clear to most people, but that has become quite clear to me listening to nutritional experts, is that it's a very complex field, an interplay between environment, emotional and mental states, and genetics, and other biological and physiological factors. So it is truly difficult to sort of, I don't know, to say, yes, vitamin C is a fantastic supplement, or, then to discover that some people absorb vitamins or certain minerals or nutritional elements in different ways. So my advice would initially be to consider that your body, your physiology might work in a completely different way to the next person's, and therefore it is very difficult to make a general video or a general piece of advice that will work specifically for you. Okay, having said that, I think that there is a significant amount of research that shows how impactful inflammation is. Inflammation is, even though we sometimes, find that we have inflammation in a specific area of the body, we are all subject to systemic inflammation. The older you get, the worse this seems to get, and the greater the impact of this. And of course, our brains are not absolved from this. So this kind of systemic inflammation has been linked to all kinds of mental and emotional difficulties, ranging from something that's quite organic in nature, like Alzheimer's, to, of course, something like depression. There seems to be links to things like autism. Now, I think when many different disorders or difficulties seem to have a common cause, like inflammation, then it does make sense to say, okay, but let's take a look at the inflammation and how to limit that. The thing that I like about nutrition or dietary changes to affect something like inflammation is that it activates our body's own anti-inflammatory systems, rather than taking something like an anti-inflammatory, which can impact negatively on both our capacity to have those functions switched on, and might also impact negatively on certain organs. Alright, now the first and foremost thing that most nutritional scientists or experts seem to agree on is that sugar is bad. And I fully concur with this. I think, for many reasons, You know, our modern diet is kind of infested with sugar. I think it is appropriate to limit and, if possible, to eliminate as much sugar from your diet as possible. The reason I'm suggesting this is not for things like losing health, there's a Freudian slip, losing weight, but for the promotion of the anti-inflammatory effect. So inflammation and sugar seems to go hand in hand, or sugar seems to support inflammation significantly. And yeah, I think I'm not going to say more about that. I think sugar in its converted form, so in refined sugar, I think is the best place to start. But of course, you find sugar in many other foodstuffs like sauces and cold drinks, of course, sodas. You can find it in many types of confectionery. So, all right, so sugar. If you can find ways to limit or to eliminate sugar from your diet, I think that would be a fantastic way to start. I think there's a reasonable chance that if you like ingesting sugar, and most of us do, that's one of the reasons why sugar is so popular, that you will find yourself craving sugar. All I can say to you is that, you know, if you manage to push through, those cravings will become fewer, and eventually I think they might disappear altogether. My experience has been that I sometimes crave something sweet, and when I do, or when I have given into the temptation, the fantasy of what that substance or that thing, that sweet, whatever it is, will taste like far outshines the actual reality or the actual experience. So I suggest eliminating sugar and really trying to push through any cravings that you might have. Now, of course, sugar is not the only way that our body produces sugar. Most starches, especially your refined starches like breads or cakes or those kinds of foodstuffs are easily broken down into sugars. So I would suggest starting with sugar and then taking a good hard look at the amount of starch that you also ingest. When it comes to other foodstuffs that might be good, having anti-inflammatory kind of effects, there seems to be good research pointing to the value of omega-3, the fish oils. I don't have any specifics around dosage, although I think taking some better than none, and from some of the things I've listened to, it seems that a fairly high dose of this is probably quite good. Again, there has been significant amount of research generated that points to the psychiatric benefits of something like omega-3, ranging again from autism, schizophrenia, depression, if I remember correctly, even anxiety states. And again, I would attribute that to, well, it probably has many factors at play, but one of the factors at play here is that it has an anti-inflammatory, strong anti-inflammatory kind of effect. The other, what shall we call it, substance or element, what is that? I'm not sure what to term that. Is something called sulforaphane, which you find in things like Brussels sprouts, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and so on. Again, there are many factors at play here, so the preparation of this is quite important. You can't cook it to death. If you cook it, then apparently you limit the amount of sulforaphane that your body can ingest. And sulforaphane is one of those substances that has a very strong anti-inflammatory effect, but it seems to benefit all kinds of health conditions, or maybe I should say disease conditions, but also again things like depression and anxiety and so on. Again, ranging from schizophrenia, autism, and so on. I think I would like to point you to one of these experts. There's a lady, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who has videos available where she discusses a lot of these things. Now, it can get a bit overwhelming. My advice as a therapist would be to identify one thing. Again, specifically my advice is to start with sugar, but to identify one thing and to either eliminate that from your diet if it's a bad thing, or to introduce it to your diet if it's a good thing. I may do a follow-up video on this, but I just wanted to point out the remarkable value in, again, something that you can control yourself, your diet, and how making simple changes can, over a period of time, really aid your mental and emotional health. Thank you for watching. Oh, I should add, thank you for the people who have given me feedback on my videos, and one of the pieces of feedback is that I should lift my camera, which I have tried to do. You can tell me if it works a little better. I'm not sure if the straight on kind of look is working for you guys, but you can let me know. All right. Maybe I should just also, sorry, I'm a bit scatterbrained at the moment. So Rhonda Patrick, it's R-H-O-N-D-A, and then Patrick, P-A-T-R-I-C-K, if I remember correctly. If you search YouTube, you will find other videos, and she's also done several podcasts, and she's published many papers, if you want to do a Google Scholar kind of thing. Alright folks, thank you for your time and attention. I hope this is useful and stimulating. Again, please contact me or message me and let me know what you find interesting, what you find useful, and I'll see if there's anything that I can add or that I can respond to. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.